Hello, this is Teresa. I'm going to be sharing a technique today that I'm very excited about. It's a way to use the stencils you have in your stash, but this does not involve using any inks. Intrigued? Well, stay tuned and I'll share what this is. I took some stencils out of my stash, in here are 4 of the 5 that I used, and what I'm going to do is basically use them to make a background die with the same shape and size of the stencil. So I'm going to show you some of the examples that I'd already cut out ahead of time before I show you the entire process beginning to end. So here are some examples of these die cut backgrounds that I made with the stencil. Now the key to this is you need a Brother Scan and Cut to do this, because it can scan in the stencils, and I'll show you how to do that so that you can cut out the pattern. And what is also exciting about this is you can use the negative pieces in order to apply those onto a piece of paper like I'm showing you here, or you can overlay the die cut onto plain paper or pattern paper and so forth. There are so many things and possibilities for this technique. But what you need to start with is a piece of cardstock that is of high contrast in comparison to the stencil. I just chose black because it is a very high contrast color. And of course you'll need a way to temporarily adhere the stencil to the paper. I'm going to use some removable adhesive, so you can use whatever type of removable adhesive you may have on hand. And I'm just adding a tiny little bit of this adhesive around the edges of the stencil. And the reason I'm doing this instead of, say, using washi tape or some other tape to adhere it is because you don't want the machine to scan the tape in along with the pattern. So this is a way that I think you get the cleanest result. And now I'm ready to add this to a mat and prepare that to go to the machine. And since the Brother mats are not particularly sticky, often you may have to make sure that the paper is stuck to the mat and is not going to shift around. So if you feel it's not going to stick well, it's best to just add some tape. And I've put some at the top and bottom of the sheet. I'm taking it to the machine and I'm going to load my mat. So press that top button there and then it didn't want to move, so I had to click OK on the screen and then load it again. So when you're at the main screen, you're going to be choosing the scan button, and then you'll choose scan to cut data. And my machine is in black and white recognition mode. I press the start button and the machine starts scanning in the stencil against the black background. And in a moment after it is completed scanning, it will take a little bit of time in order to go through this recognition process. So this takes several seconds to go through. Once it has finished, it'll bring you back to the screen showing you the scanned image and 3 different choices. The top one, I'll click on it just to show you what it does, which is it would cut out the outline only. The middle button cuts out the inside and outside, which is what we want. And I'm drawing in the arrow from the corner in order to make the image scanned image a little bit smaller. And I'm pressing that plus button here because I want to make sure that what I'm going to get is going to actually work. So I've scanned in a couple of times to get to 400%, and I'm just clicking on that down arrow to give it a quick look, and everything looks good on this. So I'll click on the X at the screen on OK, and then I'm going to save this. And I'm going to say, even though you have more than one choice at this stage for saving it, I'm going to choose a machine, which is the top left icon. Then the machine will save that to its memory. You press OK, and now you have that pattern saved. And so now I'm going back to the home screen so that I can show you how to pull up the image when you're actually ready to cut it. And what you want is to choose pattern this time and go to Save Data and click on the place where you saved your image and find the image that you want to cut. Click on it, and then it's on the screen ready for you to cut out of material. So now we'll go on and move to the step of actually cutting it out of some cardstock. I have some specialty coated cardstock here, and I'm going to put it on the mat. And because I already know that these mats are not particularly sticky, I will have to add some more tape to the sides of it to keep it in place during the cutting process. So I'm using some painter's tape to hold it there. I did not cut out the whole cutting process because I did run into some issues when I was cutting this piece out that I did not run into with other pieces of paper, and wanted to show you how to troubleshoot should you have the same issue. So now I'm loading the mat into the machine. I already have the image on the screen that I want to cut. When I click OK twice, click on Cut, and then press the Start button, and it starts the cutting process. If you're lucky and your paper doesn't move at all during the process, then you may not have a lot of babysitting to do. But as you'll see, once it starts cutting into the detail, all of a sudden the paper will start to pop off, and then I'll have to stop the machine a couple of times to deal with it. So I just hit the stop button to hold it, keep it from cutting anymore, and I went and added another piece of painter's tape. And what you'll see in a minute is I'll start the cutting process, and then I have another problem, so I stop it again and add tape on the other side, and from that point I didn't have any further issues. One of the things I did try later is using some removable adhesive on the back of the paper, and that did a good job of holding the paper in place, especially if it cuts out a frame around the entire piece. And that's what the machine cut first, was that outside frame before cutting more. And the paper does shift a couple more times. I did struggle with this one again, and I actually ended up cutting it out a second time using those tips that I shared with you, and it went much better. However, I was still able to salvage this piece, and in the part 2 video, I'll show you what I did with the one that wasn't starting out so well in the cutting process. And now that my second cut is complete, I'm going to pull that off of the mat and start to weed out the pieces on the inside, because I didn't intend to use those as an inlay. If you want to do that, it works best if the pieces are cut completely clean and therefore stick to the mat. What you will see is when I pull this off, those inside pieces are pretty much going to come right off along with the whole die cut itself. As I start to try to pull it off to see if the pieces are going to stick, and only a few of them came out easily. So the thing I think I could have done better with this paper is adjusted the blade and found out what depth and pressure I needed to make it cut more cleanly. I did have the blade set at 5, which usually works with a wide variety of cardstocks, but it didn't work quite as well with this specialty coated cardstock. So here's another example where I cut out a different stencil, and the negative pieces stayed stuck to the mat, so that's what it looks like if it stays where you want it to stay. And I showed you a piece of purple paper where I transferred the negative images. So I'm going to show you how I do that using this label paper by Avery. It is stickier than a post-it note or some other things that are low tack, but yet it will come off of your paper without sticking to it. Except in this case, this piece of specialty paper also happened to be one I'd had around a long time in my stash. I ended up cutting this again off screen, and you'll see what it looks like, but when I use this process to transfer the die cut pieces on the mat, unfortunately I had a separation issue where the pretty part on the top was separating from the paper backing, and therefore I ended up getting another piece of very similar type of paper by a different brand and seeing if it was just an issue with the paper. As it turned out, it seemed to be an issue with the paper and the age of this paper, because I went back and happened to find another piece of this exact paper in the store, and I was able to successfully transfer it off of the mat. So you're going to see how if it's not coming off cleanly onto the transfer paper, it may or may not be worth the effort. I curled the mat back, as you can see me doing, in order to try to get a better result with it transferring, and if it does not come off easily, just lifting the transfer paper off, then this method could help. And you may actually need a spatula or some other tool in order to encourage it to separate. I'd have a spatula tool, and when I start peeling off that paper again, you'll see that some pieces stayed stuck to the mat, and then I'll get that spatula, and then I just reach in and press it down before peeling the mat back further. This is the one that did not turn out so well, but when I did get a new piece of this paper, it worked perfectly the second time. So it's not too big of a deal if a few pieces don't stick right away, because of the pattern. It's easy to tell. It's easy to replace a piece that just does not want to come off the mat, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. I did try my best to make sure I didn't have to do much of that at all, so I really was taking my time because I didn't want to have to manually transfer a lot of pieces if I could avoid it. When I was using regular cardstock for this process, it went a little bit easier. I'd like to also mention that this is totally optional. You certainly do not have to transfer the pieces off of the mat. This is only if you want to use them, and I really wanted to use these little, I'm going to call them mermaid scales, because that's what they look like to me. And that paper is so beautiful, I just didn't want to waste any of it at all, so that's why I went through the trouble of transferring it. I did have some issues with the paper itself. It was an older piece of paper, and the paper backing was tending to separate from the pretty part of the paper, and I actually ended up going back to the store, and luckily I found the exact same paper. But in the meantime, I created a background that I wanted to put those scales on. So I'm using this gilding polish. And by the way, I will link to supplies used below. It dries very quickly, and all you have to do is use this little shoe polish type applicator to put it on paper, and within seconds it's dry. So I wanted that pearlized finish to put the mermaid scales on. So to do that, I'm going to need to put some adhesive on the back of the scales, and I chose to use liquid adhesive. I don't know that there's any particular adhesive that will be easier to use than another. I just chose to do the liquid adhesive, and once I'd gotten it on back of all of them, I placed the paper on top, and I'm going to press down and then give it some time to dry before flipping it over to remove it. Now I'm going to warn you, when I do flip it over, you're not going to see the turquoise paper. You're actually going to see a similar paper to the turquoise. It's bright pink, but I did the exact same process, so nothing changed about how I did this. This paper I didn't have any issues with, and I chose to just show this to prove that this actually does work. And when I did the new piece of aqua paper, it worked just fine for me as well. So in that instance, it truly seemed to be an issue with the paper itself. So now you can see why it didn't work out so well the first time, and why I decided to show you the second example to show you that it really was the paper in this case that was causing the issue. And here's a still shot after I successfully completed the aqua paper a second time. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. There is a part 2 coming soon featuring some finished projects using the techniques shared in this video. Until then, I hope you have a great day.